Hello and welcome to Healing Point. Today's edition promises to be exciting. I am your regular host, Pamzi Jamal. The Christian faith is largely dependent on the Holy Land. Many Christians over the years have gone for pilgrimage to the Holy Land, mostly on government sponsorship. How has the visit to the Holy Land changed an individual to be at peace with self and neighbor? Today's edition will be centered on the unity of Christians on the Plateau. And to have this conversation, we have the Executive Secretary, Plateau State Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board, Reverend Father George Gorap. You're welcome to Healing Point.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Okay, before we go further, we would like to know what is the vision and mission of this board?
Well, the Plateau State Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board was established by the former governor of Plateau State, late Chief Solomon Lar, in 1981. Since then, Plateau State has been involved in pilgrimage preparations for over 39 years now. The establishment of the Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board has the following mission, namely to encourage Christians to participate in the holy pilgrimage to become better Christians and citizens of Plateau State, in particular in Nigeria at large, with a vision to lead in organizing successful and hitch-free pilgrimages for the transformation of Plateau State.
Okay, thank you very much. The mission is quite interesting, to make individuals to be better citizens in the state. Okay, how has it increased the Christian faith from your observation?
As we have all come to believe, Christian pilgrimage is undertaken for religious purposes. Then, in that sense, it is aimed at building faith. Pilgrimage, as you know, is the connotation of one's commitment towards his or her faith. The pilgrims travel to visit holy sites that are related to the life and times of Jesus Christ, especially his birthplace and other places that are related to his ministry. And the witnessing of these sites can increase one's faith. Pilgrimage gives you spiritual transformation. It enables one to be close to God, his creator. Pilgrimage, as you know, enables one to pray and to seek for the spiritual uprightness. By this, you can gain moral soundness and holiness. Pilgrimage can develop the human person, and it can give him joy, experience, fulfillment, and satisfaction. And finally, pilgrimage can facilitate our preparedness for our last journey to God in heaven.
Thank you very much. Having been at peace with self, and now we're talking of peace on the Plateau. Plateau State has been ravaged with series of conflicts. How has this changed the perception and bring about peace and unity on the Plateau?
Christian pilgrimage calls us to unity and oneness of purpose. The Plateau State Christian Pilgrims Board itself is interdenominational, and it aims at uniting Christians to be treated and welcomed equally is the groundwork for promoting peace. And this foundation for peace is laid very solidly in the Plateau State Pilgrims Welfare Board. This peace that we talk about is the idea of friendship, equality, harmony, and freedom from fear. Our pilgrims and the Pilgrims Board in itself walks in the way of Jesus Christ, who gave the world peace when he said, "Peace be with you, my peace I give you." Peace is when we are able to resolve our conflicts without violence, and that we can work together to improve the quality of our lives. It is a stress-free state of security, that calmness that comes when there is no fighting, no quarrel, no war, no suspicion, no doubt, but that everybody, everyone, everything coexists in perfect harmony and freedom. This is exactly what pilgrimages aim at: to draw people closer to God, to have respect to human life for peaceful coexistence. His Excellency, the Right Honorable Barrister Simon Bako Lalong, KSGG, knows it very well for his consistent effort of pilgrimage sponsorship, both of Christians and Muslims, that pilgrimages have played significant part in what is yielding fruit in the peace we are enjoying in the state. Because pilgrimage can transform people for the good of the society. When you feel at peace with yourself, you are contented to be the person that you are.
Okay, talking of sponsorship, government spends huge amounts of money on pilgrimage. For what is the board doing to encourage self-sponsorship, as faith is personal?
See, when you know the meaning and the importance of pilgrimage, you do not need to wait for government sponsorship. Everything will flow naturally out of your own desire to visit the Holy Land. A spiritually profitable pilgrimage is when you are able to source for funds and sponsor yourself, because it is an expression of one's commitment and determination towards his faith. This faith is a personal relationship between oneself and his God. So the desire to travel for pilgrimage is born out of one's faith. One day, the government of Plateau State will wake up and say it can no longer sponsor pilgrims. And then what happens to that faith that you have? So we Christians in Plateau need to wake up and have a second thought over this. The Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board has continued to enlighten and urge wealthy individuals, organizations, churches, and highly placed persons to sponsor themselves and others to perform yearly Christian pilgrimages. Year in and out, the Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board organized awareness campaigns, sensitization workshops, embarking on advocacies, etc., to encourage its citizens towards self-sponsorship. The response has not been very encouraging, as the burden is always left in the hands of the government of the state. We urge Christians and other meaningful communities, politicians, wealthy individuals, voluntary organizations to be involved in this spiritual venture, so as to do the needful by sponsoring pilgrims, so as to sustain and keep our Christian faith alive. Intending pilgrims who want to sponsor themselves can pay in installments beginning from January of each year to enable the board arrange for their journey by the end of the year during pilgrimage seasons.
Okay, as we commend the state government for sponsoring pilgrimage, rather than sponsoring those that can afford it, how has the board reached out to the less privileged, the poorest of the poor in the society for sponsorship?
Well, Plateau State government's sponsorship of pilgrims is aimed at reaching out to the poor. It's aimed at that. And that is why we always talk of those who are materially poor but spiritually rich. And again, we talk about those who are spiritually poor but materially rich. For time and time again, His Excellency the Governor has laid emphasis on the consideration of the poor citizens and Christians at the grassroots. We have and we will continue to encourage our stakeholders to continue to emulate or imitate His Excellency's kind gesture by reaching out to the poor, especially when pilgrimage forms are given to them. The board has also, time without number, been able to make special appeals during our awareness outreach for churches, groups, politicians, philanthropists to reach out to the poor in the area of pilgrimage sponsorships.
Okay, in the past, we always know that it's only the elderly that are always being presented for pilgrimage. What is the board doing to ensure that young people are being projected to be part of the pilgrimage?
In line with the collective aspiration of the Plateau State government and desirous of ensuring religious harmony, peace and tranquility in Plateau State, which is the hallmark of Christian pilgrimage, His Excellency himself, in answering the clarion call, sponsored last year 100 youth to cut across all denominations from the 17 local government areas in the state. Aside from the religious aspect of the youth pilgrimage, the youth were empowered through their visits to agricultural sites, information technology outfits, etc. These facilities visited are components aimed at creating value for the youth to enable them contribute their quota to the development of Plateau State by replicating what they learn and what they have observed while in the Holy Land. So frantic effort has always been made for the youth to be considered, and that we are not only considering adults in terms of pilgrimage alone. Be that as it may, youth pilgrimage has now come to stay, being an aspect of the state government's program that will enjoy continuous government intervention under the administration of His Excellency Governor Simon Bako Lalong, our governor.
This is for the dreamer who sees great things, whose faith can't be suppressed. Women, children, those with disabilities, who have conquered many obstacles. For the warriors in scrubs, who are working to save lives. We can make it easy and this struggle busting.
Stay home, stay safe, stay strong. Wash your hands, sanitize, isolate. It's time to take responsibility. Play your part. Stay home, stay safe, stay strong. Wash your hands, sanitize, isolate. It's time to take responsibility. Play your part.
Let love be shared in these hard times. Share hope, laughter, and prayers. Be determined that we will come out of this better. This is a test of humanity. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Yes, we can.
Yes, we
Yeah, we can beat this COVID-19 down.
Stay home, stay safe, stay
Stay,
strong.
stay,
Wash your hands,
yeah.
sanitize, isolate.
Stay strong.
It's time to take responsibility.
Play your heart.
Stay home, stay
Pray
safe, stay
for one
strong.
another.
Wash your hands, sanitize,
Reach out and call
isolate.
somebody.
Take responsibility. Play your part. Stay home,
Stay home and stay
stay
safe.
safe, stay strong.
Stay strong.
We can beat
this COVID-19
down.
Okay, that's quite commendable. Having taken the youth to go and visit agricultural sites to come and impact on the state, do you have any indices, any measurement to ensure that these people that have gone to for this pilgrimage are back and are doing what is expected?
Well, this is what we expect of all pilgrims. It is expected that on return, Plateau should gain from the pilgrimages they have performed. That is why I said we talk about them coming back to replicate what they have learned in the Holy Land. It is expected that, for example, the youth that came back to see them doing some agricultural programs. And I am very sure that with that, since the governor himself has personally supported this program, he will be in support to see youth participating fully in agricultural developments of the state.
Okay, before now, Plateau states have been commended in terms of leadership and composure in the National Pilgrims Welfare Commission. What are you doing to ensure and to sustain this tempo?
The modalities put in place that has resulted in Plateau State being the best in terms of pilgrimages is that, for example, His Excellency himself has put in place every effort to be pilgrimage friendly among all the governors of Nigeria. He has been one governor who, for the past 3 years, sponsored the highest number of pilgrims. This has earned him the 3 times NCPC Governor of the Year. This does not in any way mean that Plateau State is richer than other states. Far from it. It simply means that Governor Lalong and Plateau State understand what pilgrimage is all about. So the first thing we need to know is for people to understand what pilgrimage is all about. That's the starting point. Or else others will make it some kind of, tourism. Right now, on Nigeria's pilgrimage leadership table, Plateau has a place. It is now providing number, quality, leadership in the Nigerian pilgrimage history. So far, we have made a lot of achievements because there was equal distribution of forms to intending pilgrims in the state. Publicity and enlightenment campaign for intending pilgrims in the print and electronic media to educate and encourage Christians to be interested in the performing of pilgrimages to the Holy Land. We have always tried to liaise with the immigration offices to assist intending pilgrims in the processing of e-passports. These are the components that will result in the success of pilgrimages. Conducting administrative and medical screening for intending pilgrims as stipulated by NCPC and other international rules. So there are rules that we need to be guided with. We encourage some physical and other inoculation exercises for intending pilgrims. This is because some people are weak. They would want to go, but physically they are unable. So we want to try them to have some exercise and be able to know who and who can go. Organize a farewell church service to dedicate intending pilgrims where prayers are offered for a hitch-free pilgrimage. To ensure a successful airlifting of pilgrims to and from Holy Land and seeing to their general welfare during pilgrimages. Educate intending pilgrims on general ethics, especially how to behave at the airports, in the hotels, in buses, at holy sites when we visit them, and during meals as well. So these are the things that we have been doing again and again to each group of pilgrims, so to ensure that we have a very successful and hitch-free pilgrimage every year.
Okay, that's quite commendable. Coronavirus has brought the world, has made the world to a standstill. Even the air we breathe, we have to struggle with face masks and all that. Should the international flights resume? What are the modalities put in place by the board to ensure that the spread of coronavirus is minimized?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that COVID-19 is an invisible enemy. The war against it is not a physical one, but mental, such that we need self-discipline in keeping with the NCDC laid down protocols. For now, since the vaccine is the medicine for it has not been found, we are only hearing about stories about that. But for now, the best way is self-discipline. With the widespread of COVID-19 pandemic globally and in the state in particular, concerted effort was put in place by our board to curtail the spread of this deadly disease. And since then, we have made this effort to curtail the spread of it. We have organized an in-house sensitization for management and entire staff of the board on the dangers posed by the outbreak of this deadly disease. The entire Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board offices and environment was decontaminated and fumigated by PEPSA officials on the invitation of our board. Our board then has purchased hand sanitizers, wash hand soap, buckets with nozzles, face masks, and maintenance of social distancing. All other COVID-19 protocols are being adhered to in this board. With the pronouncement of the partial and total lockdown by the state government, staff were directed to stay at home and perform skeletal services only. With the lift of the lockdown, all staff have resumed work and have undergone COVID-19 tests with results being negative. The board has continued to ensure compliance with all the protocols to COVID-19 and prayed that this pandemic will end soonest so as to allow us to begin pilgrimages operations once again. So as you know, everybody is looking up to it. This has not only affected the board, it has affected every aspect of human life. So our prayer is, as you have said, we wish that we will all work hand in hand to overcome this pandemic and for life to begin all over again.
Okay, Plateau State is known for its hospitable nature, tourism potential. As you send out your ambassadors to go and see what is obtainable in the Holy Land, what are you doing to also project Plateau State as a home of peace and tourism to the wider world?
First of all, before our pilgrims commence their journey to the Holy Land, a special day is usually set aside to give orientation to all intending pilgrims. The orientation program is meant to educate all intending pilgrims who are ambassadors of Nigeria on discipline and general conduct while in the Holy Land. Resource persons are usually carefully selected to give tips on general conduct towards fellow pilgrims, towards citizens of the hosting countries, towards bus captains, towards our tour guides and drivers, towards feeding, towards clothing, towards pilgrim and care in handling documents, e.g. your e-passport, your air tickets, towards shopping and general medical tips. These steps are taken to ensure that pilgrims exhibit good conduct that will portray the image of Nigeria and the image of Plateau State in good light based on the good mannerism and attitude exhibited by pilgrims. You see, in that way, we're already promoting Plateau State. As you know, Plateau State has been awarded because of its conduct during pilgrimages. So these are the ways that Plateau is becoming to light, and that is the only way we can use to also expose the tourism in Plateau State. Another area that Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board is currently exploiting is the collaboration that started last year between our board and the general manager of the Plateau State Tourism Corporation Board. The collaboration is on how to train its guides in Israel, which will be achieved through pilgrimage to enable them replicate same in Nigeria what Israeli guides do in Israel. So you see, we work together with them. They can even participate in pilgrimages and they will learn from them. And then when tourists come into the state, they will also learn on how to guide and to project Plateau State as well. The Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board will decide to get the Tourism Corporation interested, as pilgrimage is both spiritual and developmental. So this way the two of us are linked together. The general idea here is to project the image of Plateau State as a home of peace and tourism through such collaboration and visit to the state by foreigners.
Okay, these feats cannot be achieved without challenges. What are the challenges faced by the board?
Well,
Just in a few seconds.
yeah, for sure. You know, dealing with human beings, people who have come from different backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, to now manage them to travel together, it itself very challenging. Secondly, when you are coming to the area of screening, one of the challenges we face is that pilgrims they do not open up to tell us exactly what is their health status. What we see in them is that they long to travel without considering those aspects that we are looking for. So sometimes what we see, what you tell us is different from what we see in you, and that is where we always have some kind of problems when we get to the Holy Land. Apart from that, I think Plateau State has been doing well. We have been very careful in the selection of pilgrims. We don't judge pilgrims based on who is your sponsor, who is your guardian. No, we look at you and the person that you are, and from there you will be qualified to travel.
Okay, thank you very much. For the want of time, what will be your message, your general peace message to the citizens of Plateau State?
My message to Plateau State, especially those who have performed pilgrimages already, is for them to replicate, because Israel is a beautiful land. Having gone there, we need to be transformed. Let there be automatic transformation, because this is what we are looking for. It is true that Israel is a land of peace, and if we have been sponsoring a lot of people from Plateau State, Plateau by now, with the contribution of all JPs, I expect that Plateau State by now should be able to go a little bit higher, so that Plateau can enjoy peace, be it as it may.
Okay, thank you very much. It has been an interesting conversation with the Executive Secretary, Plateau State's Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board, Reverend Father George Gorap. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation, and see you next week with an interesting episode of Healing Points. I am your host, Pamzi Jamal.
Thank you.